A very warm welcome to you all. Good morning, dear students. Let us today start with our next chapter of civics, that is lesson number 6, Directive Principles of State Policy and Fundamental Duties, which is on page number 83 of your textbook. So let us start now. If you remember, in the last session we have finished with our fundamental rights part 2, where we have studied that what were our fundamental rights. Okay, part 1 and part 2, both these lessons we have studied the rights of a citizen, which have been mentioned in the constitution, right? Now let us see, apart from rights there are some duties of the citizens. So let us see in this chapter. Let us begin. In the last 2 chapters we studied the fundamental rights guaranteed by our constitution, yes or no? Then we learned what rights Indian citizens enjoys. We also learned that our rights have judicial protection. That is one more important point we have learned in the previous chapter, that constitution has not only given us the rights but also has provided a judicial protection. In case there is infringement of right, or if any rights are violated by anyone, then we are having a judicial protection. Means we can take our problems, we can get the remedies from the court, yes or no? So we are also having judicial protection. We understood the importance of fundamental rights in our individual and public lives. Also we have seen that we can exercise our rights where, in which places, in public and in our day-to-day livelihood. So where we can exercise our rights we have understood through the previous chapters. With this background, we shall now understand what the directive principles of state policy are. Okay, fundamental rights puts restrictions on the power of the government, yes or no? Now if the rights are given in the constitution, then there is a pressure on the government. Why there is a pressure on the government? Because he has to see whether every citizen, whatever rights are being given in the constitution, that rights are correctly getting exercised or not. Means suppose for example there is a right to equality, yes or no? So I told you in the practical life, when we see, then we see that somewhere there is violation of the rights. Everywhere the people are not treated equally, somewhere there are corruptions also, yes. So that puts restrictions on the government to check whether the rights are correctly exercised, whether they have been implemented by the citizens properly or not. Okay. A few such restrictions upon the state are listed below. So let us see what are the restrictions put on the power of the government. The list is given. State shall not discriminate between and among citizens on the basis of caste, religion, race, language or sex. So we all know, since the rights are given by the constitution, by the government, that if government only will not follow, will it do? No, it will be wrong. So that way the government is running through the states. Yes, and every state is having their own government. So the state should see to it that they should not make any discrimination among the citizens of India on the basis of all these factors. Okay. Next, state shall not deny anybody equality before the law and equal protection of the law. State cannot stop anyone that by saying that this law is only for rich people or this law is only for poor people and you will not get protection. Because I told you, we have not only got the rights and the laws, but we have also got the protection. So any person who is being violated from his rights can have the law protection. Nobody, no state can deny any citizen from the rights and from the law protection. Okay. Next is, no person shall be deprived of his life. I told right to life in the first chapter we have done. Nobody has the right to take anyone's life. So same rule applies for the state government also. Since they are the government, they are the authorized person. So in that, even the police, military or everyone is coming, yes or no, defense forces are coming. So that doesn't mean that they are having the authority. So according to their wish, they can take life of anyone. No, they don't have that permission that to take anyone's life. State shall not impose any religious taxes. So all these we have studied, these laws we have studied, these rights we have studied as a part of the citizen. same is for the government also. Is that clear to everyone? So no state government can impose any religious taxes. Government is taking so many taxes, yes or no? CST, GST and so many taxes, water tax, light tax, so many taxes are there, but they are not allowed to take any religion tax. Okay, so that was the limitations or restrictions put on the government. Let us see now. The constitution has given express instructions to the state about what policies it should undertake. Means the state government can express that what policies they are undertaking for the welfare of the people. They can give out through their expression, through their declaration, that what type of instructions should be followed and what type of policies they are undertaking, okay, for the welfare of the people. This is in the nature of giving directives or guidelines about how to achieve the goals expressed in the preamble. So where are these instructions given? By the state, the instructions are given as directive principles in the preamble. Where it is given? It is given in the preamble, okay. So and these instructions are regarding what? That how to achieve the goals, okay, how to do the welfare of the people. Everything should be smooth run in the country, everything should be in order, okay, not disorder, okay, in order. So all these things are taken care while expressing the goals in the preamble. Hence they are called as directive principles of state policy. So remember, as we are getting our rights in the constitution, same way these directive principles are given in the where it is given in the preamble. Where it is given? In the preamble, okay. So have you all understood whatever are the principles of the state that has been named as directive principles of state policy, okay. Why were the directives included? Now why there was a need to include the directives? Let us understand. When India won independence, we faced a great challenge of establishing order and carrying out smooth administration. I told you, after independence we were not having any government, yes or no, before independence, because we were only under the slavery of Britishers and before that many others, yes or no. So after becoming independent, there should be someone to look after the country, to run the country in a ordered, discipline and a smooth way. Yes or no? Someone was needed to look after the administration of the country. So that is one person enough to look after the country? No, there is a team. Oh yes, so that's why eradication of poverty, backwardness and illiteracy had to be urgently pursued. Another reason was that not only there was a need of the person to look after the country, but also there was poverty that time. Yes or no? Many people, India was a poor country that time. So that time the need was to eradicate poverty, to reduce or to remove the poverty. That was another goal. Next one, backwardness. People were having orthodox thinking. They were saying their standard of living was not high. They were backward, yes or no? In all the sense, not only in living, but their lifestyle, their occupation, their clothing, their houses, everything was backward. Okay, even the constructions of infrastructure, that was also very backward. So that we need to improve. And illiteracy, surely that time education was not so much important. So awareness about the education what was necessary to be brought in the minds of people. Okay, so that was needed urgently that time. The task of nation building had to be undertaken. So what was the task that time? That we have to build our nation, because all things were weaker points, yes or no? After independence, all the things are, we are poor, we are not educated, we are not having our standard of living, we were not having jobs and all those things. Nobody was there to look after the country, that was disorder in the country. So all these things need to be builded. So that means their need was there to build the nation. Okay. For this, new policies had to be drawn up and their implementation had to be undertaken. So understood why there was a need to draw up the policy. Why? Because we have to improve all these weak points of our country, right? So for that purpose, there was a need to draw up the new policy, and that policy also need to be implemented. Not only take out the new policy, okay, from this will be done. He will take care of the country. Then these schools will be open, and here roads will be constructed. People will be there. But all these are just planned? No, everything should be planned and implemented. That was the purpose. Okay. The goal of people's welfare had to be achieved. Excuse. The goal of people's welfare. Now, what was the goal? That in any condition we have to achieve the welfare of the people. What were the dreams? What was the ambition and goal of the people that we need to achieve? In short, India had to be transformed into a developed and progressive nation. So what was the aim and goal? That anyhow we have to transform India. That time after independence, India was not a developed country. So what was our aim and goal? To transform India, to change India into a developed and progressive nation. Okay. The Constitution has specified the subject. Okay, this part I will continue in the next video. Okay.